Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Cassandra here, and today we have another review and a reading vlog, and today we are talking about Lock Every Door. So Lock Every Door is like a mystery thriller kind of thing. So we have this old building and we have Jules, who is a young girl. She's broke, her entire family is dead, her sister is still missing, and so she is broke and she's looking for a job. And this apartment building is in high part of New York. They're offering $4,000 for a month to basically apartment sit. So it kind of sounds suspicious. Her best friend Chloe is kind of like, are you sure? But Jules is living at Chloe's basically sofa because her boyfriend has recently cheated on her in their apartment, so she just moved out. She doesn't have a job, she doesn't have any money, so she's like, well, it's my best shot. So she goes over, she has her interview, and the whole entire story unravels. The apartment building is quite old, and there has been several things that have happened, from a plague hitting it and I think 27 or 8 servants died, to it's next to Central Park, and one of the girls that work there was found murdered, and all of her insides were being taken out, and it was almost like a satanic situation. And then we had the owner back in the day jump off the roof. So there's several things that have happened, and so when she gets in, turns out her favorite writer lives in the building, but the building has a lot of different rules that you have to follow. Things like no visitors, no social media, you can't leave the apartment for the night, don't talk to any of the other people that live in there. It's very all, secret. But then you have people that are billionaires, superstars living in there, so they want their privacy. So I kind of get that, okay? So we have Jules living in this apartment, and there's 2 other apartment sitters. And to start with, she's been told that the owner of the apartment has passed away a couple of years ago, not so long ago, and the family is fighting who's supposed to get the apartment. So until then, they need a sitter. Turns out that there has been a previous sitter in that apartment, so she didn't know about it. And then we kind of unraveled the entire story. It kept me on my toes. I must say, I wasn't in the best headspace when I was reading it, but it is quite fast-paced, especially the first part. I loved it. I thought it was very quick to read. It was just, every time you turn a page, you're trying to put it together, what is happening. There's a couple of quite a good twists, so I would give 4.5 stars. I wish I had in a paperback copy. I just read it on my Kindle. But if you guys would like to see everything in detail, then let's just head over to the reading vlog part. And I just wanted to warn you that the reading vlog has spoilers. So if you want to read it without many spoilers, then just give it a go. And if you have read the book, let me know down below what you thought about it, and let's get it. Morning guys, so we are on day 2. I literally read like 1 chapter maybe yesterday. I'll tell you. Oh no, that's not the book that I was going to read. So all I've read yesterday was literally just like the opening. She is, what was her name? This is how well I've been reading it. So she just got into this apartment and they're going through it, and basically there's like this weird the lady that's like walking through, being super glamorous. They see someone who was in the movies or like in soap operas or whatever, and they basically say that none of the apartments can be vacant if the person doesn't live there, and the person that owns it died recently. So there's a battle for the apartment, who's gonna have it, and like right now there's no one who can live in there because they don't want any changes to be made. So she seems like she doesn't have a job, doesn't have a house, doesn't have anyone to be called in cases of emergency, which I would have made up a number, because I feel like it already puts you in, like if they did have some kind of mean idea, it already puts you in a harm's way. So remember, always have someone's number, even if it's a post guy, even if it's your doctor's number, anything like that. Just make sure that you give someone's number, because it makes people think that there's someone who's going to look for, be like, oh, I don't know who to pick, blah blah blah. Okay, well, have that one, that's my best friend. Even if it is literally the lady across the road that doesn't even know your name, or if it is your postman, or if it is your doctor, or if it's the lady that serves your coffee, like always have someone's number to give, just in case, so they know that someone is going to be looking for you. Of course, she gets the job, because otherwise we wouldn't have the book. But now she is back at her friend's house, whose name is Chloe. And she says to Jules, which that's the main girl's name, she says to her, like, you know, they want you to move in tomorrow. They're going to pay you to stay in this luxurious apartment. Don't you think that it's a little bit with a friend? I feel like it is a little bit suspicious. How she explained it sounds great. The friend's like, what if they're a part of a cult or something like that? And it did cross my mind. What if they like want to trap you there? You didn't give them anyone to call. They seem that there's no one to be looking for you. So it is really scary. So let's continue. We have a couple of rules that Jules, is it Jules her name? She needs to follow. And some of the rules are no alcohol, no social media, so no post, no one can kind of know that you live in that building. And 3, none of your visitors can come in, nothing, no friends, no family, no one like that can visit you. And now she's like in this room and all of a sudden she's hearing creaks and cracks and she's like, well, I don't think they have mice in here, but you know, she is starting to hear cracks. So I was going to have a nap, but I'm going to try to get a few pages and I'm drinking coffee. So we will see how that goes. I'm like 15 or 16 chapters in. So she moves in. The people are a little odd, but nothing too crazy. And we're going back and forth between now so the first thing that we read is she wakes up in a hospital and she has escaped the actual apartment building that she lives at. And then it goes into like 6 days before, 4 days before. Also, why do I look so red? Chapter 15 or 16, something like that. It started with her, Jules, waking up in a like hospital, and then we go back 6 days to when she became the apartment sitter. So far, it just gives me like an eerie, be careful kind of feeling. There was a another sitter that she like bumped into her, took her to a doctor, Nick I think his name is, that's quite attractive. He lives on the same floor as Jules, so he patched up her arm because she had an accident in the hallway. And that friend that like the tenant from down below, like one underneath her, she says that she's like, oh, let's have lunch every day in a Central Park at 12 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day, well, the same night, she can hear a scream from her house, goes down at 1 a.m., checks on with her, and she's like, oh, no, everything is fine, really, I'm fine. And then the next morning, that girl is missing. Like, she's just gone. So they're like, oh, she just left. The doctor says that he is fine. There's things that happen, but, you know, everyone is so private, so that's why they make it like a spectacle out of it. Turns out that there's an author that lives in the building, and she's like a grumpy old lady, but the book that she wrote is Jules's favorite. Turns out that she's also a grandma of Nick, who is the doctor. So it's just like, I don't know, there's things that are connecting but are really like dodgy. She just went to Nick, they like bumped into each other, had a little chat, they had some beer and pizza, and now she went back to her house, and he said, yeah, there was some tragedy, but it's not a big deal, you know, it always happens, the old building. But Chloe, her best friend, has sent her like this link to different things that have happened. So it happened with the Spanish flu, like 25 people died within a week in the apartment building. Second, it was the owner, he jumped out of the roof in July. Then we have a guy that fell down the stairs. Then we have someone who committed suicide. Then we had Ruby Smith that died, well, was killed in Central Park, just outside of it. Ooh. So we literally have one person after the other, just like pulling like flies. So I'm not surprised that the place might feel a little creepy-ish. It can be creepy. Imagine having like a big building in a posh area. It's been there for, you know, over 100 years. There obviously are going to be things that have happened. So that part of it, I'm not that creeped out. More like her friend just like getting up and leaving. The lady that lived in her apartment, she was apartment sitting as well. Like her leaving, that kind of freaks me out. The girl that went missing left a key because they have like a shaft from where Jules lives to her house. There was like an elevator where you used to put like your food and it would go up and down and stuff. So the first night, the neighbor from downstairs from 11A, she put like a note saying, hello, my name is whatever, and put it up. So as now Jules comes back home after already that girl went, well, it's gone basically, she goes into the shaft and there's a letter saying be careful and a key to the basement with like their storage. So she goes into the basement to find, and there's another lady that lives in the apartment, and she's like, listen, in this apartment building it's better if you mind your own business, and you better take my lead, kind of thing. I don't know, it seems so suspicious. It is definitely keeping me on my toes. Does that make sense? So we are back. We're on chapter 33 now. So what had happened was, it was Ingrid. She went missing. Like weird things are happening, and she's starting to slowly like put them together. So there was a fire, and she saved one of the dogs, and her picture was being taken. Her and Nick made out. That's kind of what I'm catching up you guys with. And so Ingrid went missing, and she was trying to look for her, like for her phone and everything. And she went to shelters and hospitals and everywhere and anywhere. And like no one knows where she is. No one knows anything. And then turns out that she found one of her keys fell behind like the radiator. So she took the cover off and found a phone that belonged to the girl that lived in 12A, which is her apartment, Jules's apartment, before her. And she's like, oh, I know this girl. So she runs across the street, and there's a missing person poster, and there's a number. So she calls that number. It turns out it's one of the other boys. His name Dylan, I think, or something like that. So he is like apartment sitting downstairs. So she goes to him, like she calls him, and she's like, we need to talk. And so they get together, and he's like, well, I don't know what happened. She was saying that she was scared, and that she, you know, like that she was scared something wasn't, that she never mentioned it. And then he had a conversation with Ingrid just before she left, saying that she knows what happened to that girl. Her name started with E, but I don't remember. And the same night she goes missing. So really creepy, and we are just trying to figure out what happened, but at the same time they don't want to get police involved. I don't know, there's this book that she read of the author that lives in a building. It's almost like everyone is turning a blind eye on it, but at the same time, the last 3 sitters were all girls, and they were all orphans with no one to look for them. Like, they really needed that job. So did Dylan. And yeah, so I don't know. I feel like they are maybe sacrificing them or something like that. I don't know. It's Erica, and they have her phone, and they got it unlocked. So basically they're going through like different videos, and the first one is like her loving the apartment, and now we have one that it's like, it's past midnight and I swear I heard a noise. So they're looking at her phone, and then like sitting, she was recording her video, and the last thing that we know is Erica's reaction is wide-eyed, frightened, and she says, fuck, it's him. Who is the him? If that's the doctor, it's either the doctor or Charlie, who's the concierge. Those are the two of my, I thought it was the lady that did the interviews, but anyways, let's get around. Writer lives in the building, and obviously Jules is like the biggest fan. It's her favorite book, and the first day she like moved in, she really wanted the author to sign it. And today she comes in, and she gives her a hard copy, first edition, signed, and she's like, I've never done this for anyone, you're special. But she literally has Erica's copy, she has Ingrid's copy, and now her own, and all of them say, darling, whatever name, such a pleasure, your youthfulness gives me life, best wishes, Greta. Like, imagine a third identical copy. I mean, like, I would love to have 4 copies of Sarah J. Maas books, first edition, signed, but how creepy is that? Phone, and she messages Ingrid knowing that she hasn't replied in days. So she messages her, say, if you're out there and can see this, please respond, I need to talk to you, blah 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 blah, Erica, and whatever, it's important. And then she knows, like, I know it's silly, blah blah blah, and then the phone snaps back and it says, hi Jules, please don't be worried, I'm fine. I know it's not her. I already know it's not her. Let's carry on. Texting back and forth with that someone who's responding from Ingrid's phone, and basically so she goes, what is my nickname? She's like, oh, I can't call you, super busy here, I was hooked up with like this waitressing job. So she goes, oh yeah, cool, whatever, like what is my nickname? Because she gave her a Juju nickname. And then someone replies, trick question, you don't have nicknames, Jules is your real name. And then she goes, this is definitely not Ingrid, it's Nick, which is the doctor. I was right. So we had Jules being in a library, and she's been reading up, and she's been reading up about the grandma of the writer, and she's seen the pictures from the previous crime. There was like in 1944, there was a murder on Halloween when one of the maids was literally ripped from the inside out, like all of her organs were removed and stuff like that. And she's seen a picture of a couple in Nick's room, which was his granddad and his great grandma or something like that, or great grandfather and great grandmother. Anyways, and now she gets a phone call from Bobby, who is one of the ladies in the shelter when she was looking for Ingrid. And apparently Ingrid is in the shelter, so she's on her way to see her and to see what's going to happen. So basically, Ingrid was found, and she said she just ran away because basically, so Nick's great grandma was one of like Satanism people, and so she was the one that actually did the seance, and they basically sacrificed the maid in 1944. And obviously the writer is his like great grandma or something like that, so she knows about all of this, and she's like, you just have to run away, blah blah blah. So yeah, that was a plot twist. We still have probably 50 pages to go, so let's see what happens. I really just want to finish this book today. It's not like I'm not enjoying it, but my heart just wasn't in it. So I wanted to say that to wrap it up, Nick being the one, I really did think that it's all going to be all to do with like the Satanism and cults and stuff like that, but it turns out you have those billionaire people that basically for generations they had, so the owners of the building, they were the ones who would be doctors and surgeons, and they would take those celebrities that lived there and get sitters. So the sitters will be the providers of the organs that the rich and famous needed. That was a twist I didn't expect. I thought maybe Nick was like a serial killer, or I thought the main lady, what was her last name? Evelyn, I think it was her last name. But anyways, that she was the one that like kind of wanted it, or they were doing it for the cult or something. I did not think that it was something so human, as in, we know that organ trafficking happens. We know that there are people that need kidneys, heart, lungs, whatever it may be. I did not think that that's what it was, and knowing that we see her from a hospital perspective and then it's actually still in the building, but we know Jules is a bad bitch and she can handle the shit. And so I loved every second. I give it 4.5 stars. I would recommend. So I'm going to see if this author has anything else I could read, and I think he actually does. I think it's a he, finally. Anyways, with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what book I should record next and react to. And until the next time, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.